Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Bruce here. It's Monday, July the 25th, 8 o'clock, and that means it's time for the big show. How you guys doing? Welcome to the channel tonight from around the world. The sun never sets on Traveling with Bruce. And I tell you, Jen and I, we've been home a week now from Switzerland. I guess it's 8 days, and we're pretty well recovered from our time lapse, our time change, but I tell you, we sure did enjoy Switzerland. There's a few differences between Switzerland and Calgary. We'll get into that in a minute. Welcome, one and all, to the channel here. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're all healthy out there. You're all doing well. Your family is good, and everything is coming together. Hopefully, some of you are plotting a cruise or two, getting ready to get going and hit the waters. And the rest of you out there are planning your trips going forward. I know Jen and we're looking forward to traveling again, but the number one priority right now in this household is we're going to get Jen looked after with her hip. We have to get her into surgery, and hopefully between now and the end of September, we are all done, and we'll see what happens after that. But we have a few things we have to do between now and next week or the week after, and get ready for setup and go from there. We'll keep you posted on how all that is going. Thank you all for your kind support of this channel, all your kind messages that you send me all the time. I do appreciate it. Those of you who have been watching the videos that we've been uploading from Europe, a number of you have been kind enough to send us comments and stuff. We do appreciate it very much. I have to admit I haven't answered really any of these comments. I'll try to answer any comments I can live here, but we got so much on our plate, and of course in my case, I have now two YouTube channels. This channel right here, Travel with Bruce, and my other channel, Stock Markets with Bruce, where I am live twice a day, 5 days a week. Just going nonstop covering the stock market for people. So it's hectic. We're in a hotel here in Calgary. We're decked out in a hotel. We don't know exactly how long we're going to be in Calgary because the surgery that will be done for Jennifer will not be done in Alberta. We under rules in health rules in Canada with the government programs and stuff. If you go to a private clinic to get surgery done, you have to do it outside of your province. You can't do it within your province. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but at the end of the day, we might have to travel to another province in the country to do what we need to do, or we end up perhaps going to the US and having the procedure done in the States. And that will, of course, change our accommodations yet again, and we'll see where we end up and for how long. And then after that, we'll figure out whether we're back here again in Calgary, for how long. And then we have obviously November, December coming up, winter, and we want to get out of town and head south, get into warm weather for winter. So the traveling sort of will continue as well as the recovery and everything, but we don't have exact answers yet to the exact itinerary. We're nomads, we're on the fly, and we're just kind of dealing with it week to week, day to day, hour to hour. That's how it is. And we've bought into the program, but we'll figure it out and it'll work out okay. I'm sure we're going to be all right. It'll be nice to have Jennifer mobile again. Because in the last 3 to 6 months, even in the last almost year, the deterioration of her hip has been dramatic and has been brutal. And we have got to get the repair done. The earliest that we think we can get Jen in under the existing healthcare system, because of all the COVID cancellations, the COVID delays, and the sheer exhaustion of our healthcare workers, and we know some personally who tell us the inside scoop. We think it's 3.5 years before Jennifer can get in, and it's not that they don't want to treat her. It's that there are 12,000 patients ahead of her before it's her turn, because back in 19 there was a waiting list already of 800 to 1,000 at all times, and then all of 2020 and all of 2021 there were no surgeries done at all. And so the lineup got longer and longer and longer and longer, because as each day goes by, we all get one day older. And someone who has a sore hip today in 6 months might have a degenerating hip. And a year after that, they need a full hip transplant, so, or hip replacement. That's how this works. Time is the enemy of the human body in a way. And so the list gets longer. It just gets longer and longer, and they are having trouble to even get up to 2019 levels of patient care. They're not able to get up there yet because we're still dealing with the pandemic. So we have to go into a private clinic, unfortunately, to get this done, and we'll have to pay for it out of pocket. But it's either do that in the next 2 months, 3 months, or 3.5 years, where the deterioration will be complete and Jennifer will not be able to get out of bed without assistance, and we'll have to go everywhere in a wheelchair if that's even feasible. And I just don't want to go there. So we'll see how this plays out. If we are successful in getting her hip replaced, as the doctors are pretty sure it's routine, then the pain level will be hopefully eliminated entirely. We'll get her up and running again, up and moving again, and active again, and then we can look at traveling further on. So we'll see how all this comes together. But we are recovering from the Switzerland experience, the Europe experience. We're in a hotel here in Calgary where they include breakfast as part of our deal. And we note that while they do have similarities to where we were in Zermatt, Switzerland, there's also dramatic differences in the buffet breakfast that we're offered here versus what we were offered there. And one of the glaring differences is that we used to go downstairs in our hotel in Zermatt to our buffet table. We would sit at a table, we would be escorted to a table, and they would then serve us our coffee in the morning. And if you wanted a latte or a cappuccino or an Americano or what, you just tell them what they wanted, and any coffee you wanted, they would bring it to you. So that was the first difference, because here you go to the lineup over there where the coffee thermoses are, and they make the coffee in the back in the giant machines, and then they pour them into thermoses and drop 5 thermoses off at a time, and 1 thermos of decaf, and you have to go yourself, get in line with a cup, fill it up, and then go down the ways, the lineup of ways, and that's where they have the cream in those little containers. Why is it that the cream comes in containers and then you peel off the top, if you can peel off the thing, that aluminum cover, and then you pour the cream into your coffee and it's only half full? And you need like 5 of them because there's no cream in these things. I mean, and you're throwing away all of these plastic little containers in the garbage can if they have one beside it. And you barely have any cream in your coffee. Where in Switzerland, they bring you it looks like a silver plated container that's about this tall with hot steamed milk in there, and then you just pour that into your coffee. It's cream all you want, you see. That's another little difference of the two. If you order your coffee black, you add the cream and whatnot. The other difference is that you in Switzerland, when you do get up to go to the buffet, depending on what it is you want to start with, you can pick up, say, for some bread. They have the slices of white bread and whole wheat, just like here. But then they have the bread that is the entire loaves, and they have these folded towels on top of the loaves. And the thing is, you use your one hand to hold the loaf of bread down on the bread board, and you have a bread knife, and you slice off your slice of bread as thick or as thin as you want, and it's all rye and uh, seeds all over them, and it just breads you just really high end stuff. You grab those, and if you want to have some honey on top of your bread in Switzerland, you go right beside the bread thing. They have the honeycomb. There's a piece of honeycomb from a hive just in a wooden kind of rectangular, looks like a picture frame, but on an angle, and it's leaned backwards so that you take a spoon and you carve out some of the honeycomb with the honey in it and put that on your plate or right on the bread if you want the honey. There is no liquid honey in a jar that you pour on your bread. No, this is the actual piece of a hive. It has no bees in it, by the way. It's pure as can be. It's just I've never seen it like that before. But if you don't want that, you can always have jams and jellies. And if you don't want that, keep going down the line. Now you come to the cold cuts, because in Europe, cold cuts are a big deal. And there are 20 different salamis and hams and prosciuttos and you name it, cold cuts there. And they have forks that are designed to just pick them off the wooden boards. And you put them on your plate, whatever, as many as you want. And they have butter and they have cream cheese if you want that as well. You take those little containers and then you head to your table and you start with that. That's how you start your breakfast. If you want to start in the bread section, if you don't want to do that and you like eating pieces of fruit in the morning, a little yogurt, you head over to this section over here where it's my favorite. You have the muesli that had been made overnight. The big jar, huge jar of muesli, and you grab a bowl and put a couple of spoons of this liquid gold in there, and then on top of that, you put your fresh fruit on top of that, like half strawberries cut in half, um, slices of peaches, melon, pineapple, orange, apple, just put on these different chunks and then take that bowl to your dinner, to your table, and with your coffee and that's how you start your day. And then from there you get the eggs later, and you get the sausage later, and you get a pancake later if you want a pancake, or you get a waffle later. This is all in the buffet in Switzerland. Here at this hotel, you go get your own coffee. If you want yogurt and fruit, you go to the little bar fridge that's standing on the counter and you take out a container of yogurt. You take that to your table with a bowl, and then there's some cut up melon over here. You take some of that in a spoon on your bowl. You go to your table, you open up the container of yogurt and you pour the yogurt over your fruit if you want to, and you eat this pre-made yogurt. Whereas in Switzerland, the yogurt, by the way, is available, but they have bowls of it. You just ladle the amount you want from any flavor you want. And if you want bread, they have white bread and brown bread here. And if you want jam or jelly, it's in little containers that are all sugar, of course. Honey, I think you have to squeeze it from a plastic bottle. And there are no cold cuts. We ain't got no cold cuts here. That's the word around here. The thing I found fascinating being in Switzerland was watching the chefs and the staff stay on top of the buffet as far as making sure nothing ran out. So you're watching these people always circling around where the food is and constantly refilling everything all the time. The fruit was always at the top. The bowl was always full. The cold cuts, there was always cold cuts in order. They would take literally an entire wooden slab of cold cuts that was half gone into the kitchen and come up with a brand new one full. And then they'd reload the old one and load it up again, constantly on top of it. Eggs never ran out. The sausages never ran out, and they were of a high quality, fine meat, gorge. Oh, so tasty. It was stunning to watch. But then one is in Zermatt, Switzerland, and the other buffet is in Calgary, Alberta. And I have to admit, to be fair to everybody and to not mislead you folks, We paid more per night in Zermatt than we're paying here. So there's, at the end of the day, it might come down to that. That might be it. I don't know. I could be wrong, but the syrup for your pancake in Switzerland is from Canada. It is maple syrup from Quebec. The syrup here in Calgary, Alberta, is Aunt Jemima. Another difference. Nothing against Aunt Jemima. I'm sure the folks at Aunt Jemima are fine people, but you cannot hold a candle to Canadian Nick the Easy Rider maple syrup. We got such a kick out of the brand of it. We'd never heard of Nick the Easy Rider maple syrup in Canada before. There's no such thing as that here. But in Switzerland, we have Nick the Easy Rider syrup from Quebec. We looked at the label. It's from Quebec. And we poured it over our waffles. Delicious. But here it's Aunt Jemima from a plastic jar or a plastic thing you have to squeeze. A slight difference, little things, but nonetheless, we're surviving. Okay, we're surviving. Welcome one, welcome all to the show tonight. It's great to have you here. Nathan is here. Number 2, I sneaked in over from the sponsor show to do this. Lori, Bruce, what is the chance for non-vaccination peeps to get on a cruise ship this year? Lori, it's getting better. It's getting better. For better or worse, it's getting better. From what I understand, it seems that most cruise lines are adopting the rule, if there's such a thing as a rule. They're adopting the habit of not even seeking testing anymore. They don't need a negative test. And if your ship is not going to Canada, if your ship is only going to, say, Mexico and back from, say, LA, or from Florida to maybe to the Bahamas, or maybe from Florida to Haiti, and from Haiti to Mexico and back, you might not even need to be inoculated. You might be able to get on a ship without even having the inoculation. That seems to be the pattern, and it's heading that direction. Rocky, hi, Bruce and TW fans from the toasty East Coast, Virginia Beach, southeastern Virginia. The temperature 88 Fahrenheit, feels like 100. I saw gas yesterday for $4, and I am thumbs up number 3. Thank you. Nathan is thumbs up number 2. He was first here. He put that number 2 up there. Now Rocky is number 3. Ken is here. Hi there. Hi, Bruce and all, says Ken from Saginaw. I bet you're saying hi from Saginaw. Yes, you are. Janet and Ken from Saginaw, Michigan. 73, gasoline 443, and we're number 4. Good evening. Thank you guys for popping in here like you do every time. It's great to have you. Too many typos, Bruce. I understand. It's all good. Donnell, hi again, Bruce, and all TW gang. I am thumbs up number 7 tonight. And here are some of the emojis I'm going to use because I'm a member of this channel. Thank you, everybody. All of you guys who see, like with Donnell, you'll see a little logo beside his name, a little circle there. Tim Bowman right here. These are sponsors of the channel. If you would like to become a sponsor of this channel, hit the join button, probably just below here somewhere. And if you do become a sponsor member of this channel, you can join yours truly and the other sponsor members every Monday night. 7 o'clock Eastern time, 1 hour before this show. It's the hangout show for sponsor members. And then join us if you like for the big show. And you get to use the emojis. Love it that you're all here. Thank you, all of you, whether you're a member or not, for being here tonight. Tim Bowman, over from the sponsor member show. It was a walk down memory lane and quite the foodie talk over there tonight. We were going down memory lane. Josie J is here. How was your trip, Josie? I got to tell you, talked about some of the food, only a smidgen of the food. Oh my gosh, it was fantastic. Everything about that trip was incredible. Hybrid Duncan is a man in the house. Duncan, how you doing? Welcome, my friend, to the show tonight. Kirk, hey Bruce, Kirk from the Big Apple is here, and he is also a sponsor member of this channel. Thank you, my friend, so much. Nathan, hello, TW family and sponsor members. Gas has dropped to $3.89 a gallon here in Asheville area. High of 92 today and humid. We're looking at 2024 cruises now. Welcome. And Lee Scher is here. Welcome back. Thanks, Lee. Tim Bowman is here, number 18 thumbs up. Lee is number nine. Thanks you guys. Jeannie is here. Jeannie Lamminghouse and Bill are both here from East Tennessee. Hello, go Bruce. Hello to all the TW Beers. Bill and Jeannie are in the house. Fun sponsor show tonight, just like the good old times. Thank you so much, you guys. So love it that you're here with us. Ann Rogers, welcome. Number 10. Kelly Haston, hello, TWB family. Welcome, Kelly. When you took your trip, did you have the travel agency girls help you out? Thank you for asking this question, because you asked me this question on a comment, and I was hoping to address it on this show, and I was praying that you would repeat the question, and you did. Thank you. The answer is no. The answer is that Jennifer and I had been talking about a European trip for a year. Obviously, like the rest of you, we too were in lockdown. In our case, we were locked down in Creston, British Columbia, where we were for 5 years. This channel started August 2017 in Creston. We sold the house last year, September 2021. And we've been nomads ever since. Now, prior to the sale of the house, so last year, summer and spring, we were already talking about going on a European vacation. And it evolved little by little. We didn't quite know. We had really no idea exactly how and where and how long and anything. We really didn't know. And so there was no way to talk to anyone about it, because we didn't know when we could go. Because the other issue is not just getting an airplane ride over to Europe and an airplane ride back. The issue is, where is it you're going when you get there, and what are the requirements to enter these countries because of COVID? And we were waiting for things to simmer down. We were hoping, praying, that, crossing our fingers, that the testing requirements and the vaccination requirements and all, that we would be able to meet these without too much trouble. The other thing we were wondering about was coming back from Europe. We were wondering about coming back with regards to the Canadian re-entry rules. Because for the longest time, if you flew to Europe, you'd have to quarantine when you got there. And when you flew back, you'd have to quarantine when you came back here. And we weren't going to travel under those terms and conditions. We were just not interested. We'd rather wait this thing out. So by the time the house sold, it was September. We knew that we would be for the winter, we would be down south. We had that figured out the minute we could do it. So we headed to Los Angeles and spent the winter down south. But then when we came back, that is when the planning really picked up, because everything started to lighten up. The Germans and the Brits in the UK, the USA, Canada, they began to drop requirements from travelers, and it became more feasible that this was going to happen. So we began to cobblestone together an idea of a trip. And I came up with the one of the many ideas I came up with that, and one of which we stuck with, was this idea and notion of getting one of these. Let me show you. Getting our hands on this. There we go. Let's see if I can show that here. Here we go. Getting our hands on this. Where the Bruce's Euro Rail Pass. Where would you like to go? Where do you want to go next, Bruce? Euro Global Pass. And we ended up taking trip after trip. We ended up taking 13 days of trips on this first class rail pass throughout Europe. It gave us 33 countries to travel into, first class rail travel, unlimited travel for 15 out of 60 days. Pick the 15 days you want. And once this travel pass was becoming a reality, it allowed Jen and I now to begin to put together an itinerary. Now, none of this, we couldn't have done any of this with a travel agent, because we would have had to make specific commitments while in Canada for the entire trip, hotel reservations and everything else. Where with this rail pass, you don't have to tell the rail pass guys anything as to when you're going on your first trip, where it's going to be, and where your second one is, your third one is, and fourth one. And as it turned out, we actually landed in the UK, and we had 6 nights in London as our first stop at the Canopy Hilton Hotel in London. And it was while there that we ended up booking a rail trip from London to Edinboro, and Edinboro back to London. We did that reservation from London. We did this it's all online. It's a mobile travel pass. We booked our travel on the train. And what we did was, one of our afternoons, we took the I think we just took a cab to King's Cross station and the St. Pancras station, where we needed to start our rail journeys from. And we ended up booking not only the train ride from London to Edinboro, Edinboro back to London, we then booked a train ride from London to Amsterdam through the channel, the train that went under the channel. And we needed to reserve seats on these trains. And what we ended up doing was we walked up to the ticket agents, the human being ticket agents, for the London to Edinboro train. And we told them of our plan. We showed them our phone with the itinerary, and they spit out a reservation pass for us. I'll show you. They spit out one of these. They gave us each one of these things right here, and it's a seat reservation, only valid on the following service: 22nd of May, London Northeastern Railway from Edinboro. Now, this is from Edinboro back to London. So Edinboro to King's Cross, Coach K, seats 3 and 4, valid only with a travel ticket. We got one to go up to Edinboro and one to come back. And this was free. This was no charge. It was already included inside our fare, inside our pass. The channel that took us to Amsterdam, that was a first class ticket as well, of course. And we went to that, a human being there at their check-in area, and they set up a reservation for us, which was a week down the road. Like, it was like 8-9 days later, or 10 days later. And we bought 2 reservations, and that was the most expensive we had to pay. It was a £35 each to reserve our seats in the first class coach. The entire ticket would have cost us 400 American dollars each. And even on sale, it would have been $250 to Amsterdam. But as it turned out, we only paid £35 on top of the cost of our pass. And so by doing this cobblestoning of our trip, once we knew when we were going to Edinboro, that's when we booked our hotel, because we had the dates now. We knew we'd be there for so many nights. And then when we were coming back to London on a Sunday, and the same Sunday we left on the channel to go to Amsterdam. So we actually traveled from Edinboro to Amsterdam in one day, which meant that our rail pass only used up 1 day to go from Edinboro, London to Amsterdam, rather than using up 2 days. So now with 2 days of rail passes, we had gone from London to Edinboro, Edinboro to London, London to Amsterdam already. Those 3 legs of travel would have cost us 600 or 700 American dollars to book. And the entire rail pass that we bought cost us each $650 for all 15 days of travel, all over 33 countries in Europe. So we knew we were going to score a big savings using this travel pass. But because it allowed us to book a train the next day, we could wait until a few days before we were ready to go to book our next trip. And we could pick our time of departure because they would show us all the departure times. So after Amsterdam, after 5 days of Amsterdam, we headed to Dortmund, and we picked our Dortmund train ride while in Amsterdam. And from Dortmund, we went to Hamburg. We picked that. I think the next day we decided what that one would be. And then we picked our ride from Hamburg to Berlin. And a week later, when we were in Hamburg, I think, or in Berlin, we then picked our Munich trip. And from Munich to Vienna, we picked that trip. And then we booked our trip from Vienna to Zurich, Switzerland. And from Zurich to Lugano, Lugano back to Zurich, Zurich to Zermatt, Zermatt back to Zurich to pick up our daughter, back to Zermatt, and then back to Zurich. All of this was done through the pass, all on our telephone, all by ourselves. We could not have used a travel agent to arrange it. And all the hotels we booked on the fly. And in some cases, we were booking hotels 3-4 days before we were getting there. And we hadn't decided which one to book yet because we were on Expedia looking at all the hotel possibilities. And slowly but surely, we kept filling in the blanks. And I would have a sheet of paper on my book, and I'd write in the date of when we're leaving for the next location and what hotel we're staying at. And all the reservations for the hotels would be sent to us by email from Expedia. The rail pass was all on our telephone, was all under our pass, all sequential, all in chronological sequence. And we just kept putting it together like that, one leg and segment at a time, without a single travel agent required. We avoided airports. Not a single airport was needed once we landed, because we landed in London Heathrow. And when we left, we finally flew out of Zurich nonstop to Calgary on our return leg. That had been pre-booked with the two air flights to London and Zurich back were booked originally from Calgary way back when. It was all taken care of. And so it was, in that sense, rather stress-free. But we didn't end up using the gals for this trip because there was no way to have been able to use them. There was no way we knew, Jennifer and I did not know exactly how many days we would be in any one place and exactly what time we would leave any one place to get to the next place. And so this gave us a maximum flexibility, and yet we saved a fortune with the rail pass. We paid $650 each US for the pass. And I would say we each got $1,500 worth of travel off of the pass. And we only used 13 of the 15 days. We had 2 more days we could have traveled, but we didn't. We ended up staying in Zermatt, Switzerland for an extra week. We loved the first week so much, we didn't want to leave. We just booked the hotel for another week and stayed an additional week and didn't go anywhere. Where we would have gone on 2 more train trips within Switzerland, somewhere else in Switzerland. But we didn't want to. We wanted to keep everything unpacked, stayed in the same room, and we were spoiled rotten by the staff at the hotel. And so why make a change when you're enjoying it so much? And that's how it worked. Louise, what happened to Jen's hip to be in need of repair? Well, she has always had a sore hip starting in her 30s. And she would get some physio from time to time, but they told her that when you get to your 50s and 60s, you're going to need a new hip. And in her family, they all eventually need to get some work done. And luckily for me, I've been very fortunate. I'm good. I'm old and stiff and what have you, but I'm not in need of a new hip. Duncan, hi, number 10, Bruce going Greece for 3 weeks in a few months. Man, that's going to be great, man. That is going to be fantastic. Sandy, hi, Bruce and TW family. I hope all is well with you. I am in Calgary in the South Health campus, and I just had my shoulder replaced. I hope Jennifer gets her hip done. Try private clinic in Vancouver. Right on, Sandy. Thank you for for your thoughts. I appreciate it. I hope it's all going well for you. Kelly Hybrid, are you getting an Airbnb in Greece? Are you going to do that? Arc Adventures, they're in the house. Happy Monday, Bruce. Long time no chat. Over the weekend, it was 104 in St. Louis, but today it was a cool 79. Wish we were cooking off in Florida, laughing out loud. Kevin is in the house. Greetings from a stormy, maybe central New Jersey. We're back off of the oasis of the sea. So happy to have made it on a cruise finally. And thank you for your message that you got on that ship. Andrew Gabate is here. Hi, Andrew. How you doing, buddy? Duncan, Kelly, yes, a few of them, and hotel. We'll still have to book up more places. We're looking at a ferry to stay on to as well. Sharon is in the house. Hi, Bruce. We finally got to sail on the Oasis. Yay. This is good stuff. Lewis, the travel spotter. Hey, Bruce, it's Lewis. How are you doing? Have you heard about the Disney Wish? I love the horns. I have not heard anything about that. I know that the ship is isn't it done now? It was awful close the last I heard. I think it's sailing now. That's all I know. Kevin, Royal Caribbean still requiring negative tests on all sailings. Brittany is in the house. Hi, Bruce and all. Hi, Brittany. Nice to have you here. I would continue my membership, but I can't at the moment. It's all good, Brittany. When you can, and it's all good with us. Sharon, there was a sponsor show tonight. I didn't get an invitation. We did pop it up there. Kelly, Brittany, were you in Pensacola? Kirk, by the way, Bruce, I will never wear my Bagels with Bruce shirt on my cruise. I will wear my Bagels with Bruce shirt tomorrow on my cruise. Got it. I got it. Well, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Let me know how you do. Does anyone approach you? That would be great. That's fantastic. Brittany, I think I'm thumbs up 34. Thank you, Brittany. Louise, hi, Bruce. I'm a foodie that loves to cruise, and I'm in the right place. Yes, you are in the right place. Brittany, my husband and I have a trip planned for Labor Day weekend. Not 100% sure exactly where we're going to be thinking about staying in Florida, though. Louise, tonight, Jerry got a roast beef dinner and lemon pie with fresh whipped cream. Pretty good stuff, man. That is good stuff. Mark T, hello. What's going on with Princess? I have sailed on Princess numerous times. Since cruising started, I've been on 2 Princess cruises. I noticed the food was not as good as in the past. Things have changed on cruise ships. There's no doubt about it. Up until about 2010, right up to about 2010, a majority of cruise ships, maybe even a few years after that, but a majority of cruise ships, you only really ate dinner in the main dining room. After 2010, the specialty restaurants really kicked off. Started with Norwegian. They were the first to do this. And their thinking was, we'll offer food in various specialty restaurants, and it's only a nominal extra charge. That was the shtick. Just a nominal $5, $10, $15 for the steakhouse. That's the only extra charge. And it's all good. You got a Japanese restaurant, you got an Italian restaurant, we got the steakhouse. It's all fun. Well, within about 3-4 years, those $5, $10, $15 became $10, $20, and $40. And then within 2 to 3 years after that, by about 17, 18, 19, it was $20, $40, $60. And now you tell me what it is. It runs the gamut depending on what you're doing. And the main dining rooms are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And the selection of food in the main dining room, instead of getting a T-bone steak, you would get a New York strip. Instead of getting a New York strip steak, you would get a flank. Instead of getting a flank steak, you would get a Swiss. What do they call that? What's that called, Jennifer? You got the steak. You got the filet mignon.
Yeah.
Then you get the New York strip.
Yeah.
Then you get down to like a flank, and then you get the steak that is a burger, actually. But they call it is it a Swiss something? What do they call that steak? Salisbury. A Salisbury steak, which is really just a burger in a sauce on it.
With gravy.
with gravy. And what's happening is that the main dining rooms are becoming Denny's. They're becoming Dennyized, and so you get turkey with mashed potatoes and gravy. You get fried chicken with fries. You get a burger and whatever. The main dining rooms are slowly but surely being cut down, depending on the line. It all depends on the cruise line. I'm not saying all the cruise lines. I'm saying some. And there are still some cruise lines where you can get really good food as part of your meals. There are some specialty restaurants that are included in your fare. It's not like everybody, but do not be surprised in the next few years as these cruise lines are now carrying $100 billion of new debt that they've had to take on to survive through COVID. They're going to charge us more for the good stuff and offer us less of the quality, top-notch stuff. Just be forewarned. Nikki, hi everybody. Greetings from Jacksonville, Florida. I had to stop and make supper. Too much food talk on the Hangout show. Laughing out loud. We couldn't stop talking about food on that Hangout show. Mark, and Princess has an enormous emphasis on technology with the medallion and app. I think Princess is trying to attract a younger demographic. You could well be right. And you see, here's the thing about cruise lines. If you are a cruise line going after the elderly crowd, like me, I'm 66. So you're going after 60 to 80-year-olds. You're going after people that remember and know what it was like on cruise ships 20, 30 years ago. You're going after the 20, 30, and 40-year-olds. These kids, they haven't got a clue what cruise shipping was like. Unless they're watching reruns of Love Boat, they have no idea what the old days were like. And so they get on a cruise ship and they see a huge concourse that looks like a shopping mall. That seems familiar to them. That's just like at home. And they're kind of expecting a food court. And guess what? They get a food court experience. They see a food court experience. They get it and they just accept it as normal. Whereas us old timers and those of us who talk to our parents about what it was like in the 70s and the 80s on board cruise ships, we're not interested in this food court mentality cruise kind of life. We want that high-end stuff. We want the good stuff. The old days, you would go into a dining room and you and your wife would sit down at a table and the waiter would come by and he'd give you a list of food that's available. And you'd look at the menu and there'd be no prices on it, of course. And you'd see something like, filet mignon's available and, a real nice, might be like a veal cutlet or something available or some lamb chops. And then, they have some prawns. Like they have like a lobster tails available. You'd order 3 dishes. You would order 3 dishes to share between the two of you. No problem whatsoever. The waiter would bring that out there and you'd enjoy yourself. You'd have a little of this, a little of that, a little of that. And then dessert time, you'd order 3 or 4 desserts and you would pick away at each one of them. And dinner would be 2.5 hours. No rush. Where else you going? There's nothing else to do on the ship but eat. That's when the restaurant was the star of the show. Not anymore. It's not like that. Unless you're paying, it's not the star. I feel left out. I didn't get an email for the sponsor short or a link on the YouTube page. Sharon, check your device and make sure you haven't had a software update lately. Make sure through your YouTube account that your computer is not considering messages from me as junk mail. Double check on that. Rocky, did you fly Swiss back to Canada? How was your flight? We flew from Zurich to Calgary nonstop on an airline called Edelweiss. Now, Edelweiss is 50% owned by Swiss Air and Lufthansa. And it's an all Swiss Air crew, all Swiss Air. It was fine. We were on an A340 jet, 4 engines, which now that jet has been replaced by the A350, 2 engines, or the Dreamliner. We flew on a Dreamliner on Air Canada from Calgary to London Heathrow, and we flew on an A340 from Edelweiss back to Calgary nonstop. Fine plane, fine, quiet, powerful. Yeah, no problem at all. But we were an economy. We were in the middle, and we didn't like it. We didn't like being in the middle. It was sold out. The plane was completely sold out. We wanted window seats, but they weren't available by the time we got there. So we were in the middle. Lee, what do you think your entire trip cost, including everything? Oh my God, Lee. This is not a fair question because we spent a lot of money. This wasn't a discount trip, although on the Eurorail, that was the way to go. I mean, economically speaking, we were spending $50 a day each on our rail travels. 13 times 50, $650. And we spent maybe, $50 in total on all our reservations. We didn't need reservations in Switzerland at all. So we did save on that aspect. But the rest of the trip was not a discount trip. We stayed at some really nice hotels, although I will say this, in my defense. This was 10 weeks, so it was 70 nights. I shopped around for our hotels. And I also knew that when we started our trip, it was middle of May. And so we were definitely in shoulder season for middle of May. Until the middle of June, we were still ahead of the crowds. It was around the end of June, it got hectic because kids are coming out of school now around the world and in Europe. And so really, we only had 17 days in July where we had to contend with the potential of top dollar expenses. And when I mentioned that, I will clarify and say hotels would have been our biggest expense, of course. But I'll tell you, when we got to London and to Edinboro and Hamburg and Berlin, we were staying in 4 and 5-star hotels for less than, say, I'd say less than 300 Canadian, even less than 250 Canadian a night. Now, in Canada, you tell somebody that I only spent $260 a night for a hotel, they're horrified. I mean, they're just, what? What are you, nuts? But we're not staying in a Motel 6. We're not staying in a Holiday Inn Express. We even stayed in a Ritz-Carlton in Vienna. We were able to score, I think it was a 6-night or a 5-night stay at a Ritz-Carlton in downtown, old town Vienna. But it didn't include breakfast. It didn't include any other features. What we did get, though, was access to the spa. We were able to go to the spa, part of our deal. And it was a lovely hotel. We loved it. The room was a suite. We didn't have a hotel room. It wasn't like we were in a shoebox, with the bathroom in the front corner and then, the bed and a TV on the wall in front of the bed. We had a suite. So we had a living room area. We had a bar area with a refrigerator and all that, coffee maker. And we had a big bathroom with a walk-in shower, a jetted tub, a separate room for the John. I mean, twin sinks. I mean, it was high end. But we were in a 5-star. We were in a 5-star hotel in Vienna for the price of a 3-star. Because again, it was shoulder season. So it did cost a lot of money to take this trip. But in Canadian dollars, or if you Americanize it, or if you turn it into Swiss francs, we were getting off light. And the key for us at the end of the trip really was we really zeroed in on, in the case of being in Zermatt, we were in there for, 13 nights plus 3 more or 4 more nights. So I think it were 17 nights in total. And at those, there were 2 hotels we used. That included the buffet breakfast, which was 5-star luxury. That was a 50 franc breakfast every day, each. If you were to just walk in and sit down and eat, it was 50 francs per person. That's about 52 American dollars, 54 American dollars. And that was included in our room. So we knew that that staying in Zermatt in the resort hotel we were at, we had access to the spa, which are thermal spas, really nice, and the breakfast, and an incredible room, an incredible view. And again, we had a very large, two very large rooms to do so I could do my work, and Jen and I could be in the room together, not drive each other nuts. But again, you could say, okay, I got a 4.5, 5-star room for a 3-star price. But in theory, you can go to Zermatt, Switzerland, and you can stay in a 2-star hotel that includes a basic breakfast for less. You won't have a spa, and you won't have the 5-star breakfast treatment, but you're in Zermatt. And so if you're a college student, you're taking a gap year, you're traveling on the cheap, you're a newlywed couple and you're just going on a cheap holiday together, yes, you can do Zermatt for half the price we did Zermatt for. But we're 67 or 66, and this might be the one and only time we ever see it. And it was going to be done right. And so, yeah, we did spend some money. I'm not telling you how much. But you can read between the lines, because it looks like you and I are of the same vintage, and you know what I'm talking about as to how much this really is. Jean, Sharon, we missed you tonight. Please watch the show. It was really fun tonight. Kelly, Brittany, I thought you moved. Sharon, Jeannie, I have no access to the member show. Plus, all the fun is in doing it live. Brittany, I live in Pensacola and I love it. Kelly, Brittany, so do I. Louise, after drinking some wine, I pretended I was a cruise ship with a foghorn. I was imitating the horn sound while trying to convince Jerry to take a cruise. Sharon, Oasis of the Seas was at full capacity last week. Full capacity with very few people wearing masks. It was actually a bit worrisome. You got to wonder. Louise, that's a good point, Bruce. Denny's managed Denny's, yeah. Sharon, we didn't eat in the main dining room at all. We had a junior suite, so we were able to arrange 4 dinners at the Coastal Kitchen, 1 night at the Solarian Bistro, and 2 nights at Playmakers. There you go, right there. That's how cruising is going, and it's okay. We watched the Home Run Derby and the All-Star Game at Playmakers over dinner. Andy Cat, when do you think Canada will lift testing requirements? I think they've already lifted the testing requirements, but what they haven't done is they have not removed the vaccine requirements. So if you're flying into the country or you're driving into the country, you have to have proof of vaccination. You don't have to have a negative result anymore from a test. When Jen and I and Jen Jr. returned to Canada back in March from Las Vegas, where Jen and I eventually went with Jen Jr. When we came back from Vegas to Canada by air, we had to have a negative test to get into our own country, plus our vaccinations. And we paid 120 American dollars each for the test in Vegas. Nothing upset us more than that. Nothing. Because we were hosed. Everyone in Vegas charged the same price because we got you. We got you. We know your government makes you do it. We couldn't get a test for free or for $20 or anything like that. Not through the airline, not through the government of Canada. You're on your own. And it was like a punishment by the government of Canada for daring to leave the country during COVID. It was not a good move. Duncan, now I have that song in my head. Thanks, Bruce. The Love Boat. The Love Boat. Do, 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 do. You're never getting it out now. Sharon, Bruce, my computer is up to date. Absolutely. Usually I get emails and a notice on the YouTube page, but tonight, nada. That's not right. I am shocked because I did put up the notice out there, and I'm sure my other viewers got the notice because they were there. Daniel, Uncle Bruce, number 44 in Mesa, Arizona tonight. Thank you for the 44 thumbs up on this show tonight. If any of you folks out there could help us out, and please hit the thumbs up button. Let us know what number you are. That would be terrific. We would love to get as close to 100 on this show live. I know that my viewers who are watching this on a rerun, there are a bunch every week that watch me on a rerun. They automatically hit the thumbs up button right away, and they let me know it. They send me emails and say, I was 78, I was 85, I was 114. And I thank you all for these thumbs up. So the closer we can get to 100 right now, the better the odds of getting through maybe 150. That would be fabulous. Thank you, everybody. Ben Way, thank you. Bruce, thank you, guys. Chuck is here. Chuck Spencer. Sharon, I definitely got the invite to the early show, and I haven't been able to make the show in a while. Not sure what's going on, but you got the invite. Interesting. She's saying, Jeannie, Sharon, go to YouTube, subscribe, choose Bruce, view channel perks. She does. Paper City Gamer, Jeff, how you doing, buddy? Hi, Bruce and everybody. How you doing, pal? Nice to have you here tonight. Louise, I cruise to eat good food and swim. I got that on Holland America plus more. I avoid long lines and crowds due to COVID. Now, here is your question. I have a question for you, and then I have some cruise news for you. Here's your question, because I want you guys to hit me with this info. Tell me the first cruise you ever took. What was the name of the ship, if you remember the ship? What year was it, if you remember that? And where did you go? Now, if the cruise was great and everything was fine, that's all I need to know. But here's a little part B. If any of you went on your first cruise and something happened on that cruise that you weren't expecting, or something really surprised you about the cruise, or something about the cruise, for example, you were given the impression that the cruise would be this, but it turned out to be that. Let me know. I'd love to hear that. Was there anything that disappointed you about your first cruise that the brochures didn't tell you about? Was there, stuff happening in real life that really you weren't aware of when you saw the brochure, or you heard about the cruise or anything like that? Let me know. I'd love to have that info. Sharon, Jeannie, I've subscribed for a couple of years, and usually I do get the notices, but tonight I didn't get anything. Jeannie, Sharon, I don't know. We celebrate 2 years of sponsorship in August. Sharon, 50 thumbs ups, 50 to go, Bruce. Andy Cat, when did you think they would end the requirement for pre-cruise testing out of Canada? I don't know if it's going to be this year. It might not be until next year. And then, of course, if we have variants that keep coming up, it could go longer. Donnell, yes, I can vouch that Bruce put the invite up on his YouTube page. Sorry you missed it, Sharon. Sharon, no notice or email. I was just left out. Oh, no. Andy Cat, Bruce, when you think they will remove pre-cruise testing out of Canada, I wish I could say. My first cruise was in roughly 1970 on the Oceanic to Nassau. How about that? Pretty cool bean stuff. Let's see. Kate, my first cruise was in 1984 on the Cunard Princess. It was a cruise to nowhere. How about that? Unbelievable. Let's see. Sharon, my second cruise was a few years later to Bermuda on the Sea Venture, which eventually became the Pacific Princess. I was on the Love Boat before it became the Love Boat. How about that? Chuck, number one was Carnival Celebration, August 2007, out of Jacksonville, Florida. Just a 4-day trip to Nassau and Freeport. Andy, Island Princess out of Vancouver in 1972. Unbelievable. Let's see. Andy Cat and Princess 1972 out of Vancouver Island, Inside Passage, Alaska round trip. Sharon, last week I was in Nassau for the first time since that first cruise. Andy Cat, Island Princess 72 round trip out of Vancouver, Inside Passage. Brittany, Eastern Caribbean aboard the Disney Magic in May 2004. I got surprised night 2 with a congratulations cake, and I'm celebrating button because I just graduated from high school. Nice. William Hickey, 1981 Sitmar Fairwind was my first cruise. Oh my gosh. Kirk, 2018, the Norwegian Gem from New York to Orlando, Great Stirrup Cay and Nassau. We rescued stranded boaters and found out they were escaping the Bahamas. Isn't that something? Brittany sailed out of Port Canaveral for our ship. There you go. All right, now, I got a little bit of news for you. First thing I got for you is I took a look tonight at an article. I was looking at something today. I came across this article that listed all of the cruise ships that have been scrapped since COVID hit. Since COVID, unbelievable number, and different ships. I noted. I wanted to just run by some of these for you because some of these names will draw memories, will bring back memories. Carnival Group scrapped the Costa Victoria. It was built in 1996. The ship was only in the water 28 years, and it was 75,000 tons. It ended up in Turkey. Now, Royal Caribbean, they owned the cruise line out of Spain. Do you remember which cruise line I'm talking about? They only had, I think, 3 ships or something like that. And I think they scrapped them. I'm not sure if they scrapped all of them, but 2 of them went down. The Monarch was scrapped at 73,900 tons, and the Sovereign was scrapped at 73,500 tons. The Sovereign was built in 87. The Monarch was built in 1991. And do you guys remember the name of the cruise line that was operated by, it was partially owned by Royal Caribbean, and it was a discount cruise line out of Barcelona. And they sailed all over the Mediterranean to the Canary Islands and Mallorca. They sailed to Greece. They sailed to the Caribbean. They even did South America. Do you remember the name of the discount cruise line that was the first cruise line to collapse within 30 to 60 days of COVID? It was the first one to go belly up. It was only 3 ships long. I'm curious if any of you know the name of this ship. Duncan says, we got a troll. Yeah, we're trying to deal with this guy. Sandy, hi, Bruce. I'm number 37, Tampa. What is it, TB? My first cruise was P&O Oriana from Nassau to Vancouver. The big surprise was a hurricane near Mexico. It was in 1970, right before going to nursing school. Sandy, thank you for that memory. Louise, did you know that Eddie and Alex Van Halen came to America via All America to create music? They loved their cruise and even played music with Dad while on the cruise. That would have been something. Brent Rogers, hey, Bruce, first cruise on the original Carnival Holiday in 1998. They lost my suit bag, didn't see it until 3 days into the cruise. Oh, man, unbelievable. All right, the Harmony Century, the Century Harmony cruise ship operated by Century Harmony Cruises, that it got scrapped. It was built in 94. The Carnival Sensation was dropped. The Carnival Fantasy was scrapped. The Carnival Inspiration was scrapped. The Carnival Imagination was scrapped, all in Turkey. The Karnika, Karnika from Jalish Cruises was scrapped. Columbus was scrapped. That was owned by Eagle Power Shipping. The Ontaris Experience was scrapped. The Marella Dream, a TUI cruise ship, was scrapped. Superstar Aquarius from Genting, Superstar Gemini from Genting, both scrapped. The Horizon was scrapped. That was the 3rd ship in that cruise line. And I'm still trying to get any one of you to tell me if you can remember the name of the discount cruise line. I used to quote deals on this cruise line for $20 a night, $25 a night, $30 a night. Do you remember this cruise line? You could get super cheap cruises. If you were a student with a backpack traveling with a buddy, you would be wise to book on this discount cruise line these 8, 10, 12-day cruises in the Mediterranean for next to nothing. There was such a deal, but I can't remember the name of the of the cruise line right at the top of on the top of my head right now. Meraviglia? No, it wasn't Meraviglia, Kelly. Nice try. It was a discount cruise line, partially owned by partners in Spain and Royal Caribbean. These used to be Caribbean ships, and then they transferred them over to this discount cruise line. And they sailed northern Europe. They sailed the Mediterranean. They would sail over towards the Caribbean and South America. And I can't remember the name of the cruise line right now. It's just a blockage. One of you will know it. You'll tell me. So the Horizon and the Sovereign and the Monarch were the three ships that this cruise line operated. But it wasn't under the Royal Caribbean name anymore. Grand Celebration, that ship bit the dust. That was one of two ships that was sailing from, what was it, West Palm Beach to the Bahamas and back, right up until COVID. Now there's only one ship left, and it's under a new brand name of a cruise line again. The old Grand Celebration, built in '87. The Magellan was scrapped. Superstar Libra was scrapped, another Genting cruise ship. Star Pisces, another Genting cruise ship, was dunked, scrapped. Ocean Dream from Maritime Holdings. The Marella Celebration was scrapped. The Boudica from Fred Olsen Cruise Lines. The Black Watch for Fred Olsen was also scrapped. The Albatross, the Egyptian Swiss company for tourism, was scrapped. The Fujimura from Kakatu Company. The Marco Polo from Global Marine Group, or Global Maritime Group. The Marco Polo was scrapped. The Astor was scrapped from Global Maritime Group. The Pearl 2 from Aqua Explorer. Oriental Dragon from Worldport Corp. The Metropolis from Metropolis Cruise Lines. The Gold Club from Mint Marine. The Delphine from Vishal Cruises. Starry Metropolis from Metropolis Cruises. Leisure World from New Century Group was scrapped as well. And then the last few here, Salamis Philoxenia from the Salamis Lines. The Enchanted Capri from DMAR, the Amusement World from Jack Stone Marine, and the Atlantis from Kissamos Cruises has been scrapped. The total tonnage that has been eliminated in 2 years is 1.5 million tons of cruise ships has been scrapped away, and most ended up in either India, Pakistan, or Turkey for scrappage, and they're all gone, and they are no more. And there you have it. Pretty interesting. Pullman, is it Pullman Cruises? What are they called? No, it's no. Here it is. Ronald's got it. Suzanne, you're so close. Jason, hey, Uncle Bruce, just checking to say hi and thumbs up for number 55. Thank you, buddy. No, it's Ronald Lindsay got it. Pullman Tour. The Pullman Tour cruise line was the one that died first. All three ships were sent to scrappage. Yeah, Chuck, you got it too. So some spelling like that, Pullman Tour. Yeah, I got notification for the sponsor show via email and looked for the big show via YouTube. I did not get an email. Donnell, what was the biggest ship victim of the COVID cull? That would be those 75,000 tonners that Carnival dumped and Pullman Tour dumped with Royal Caribbean. Those were the ones right there. Yep. Gesundheit, Jen from Sharon. Thank you, she said. All right. Now, the other project I worked on today for you guys was I took a look at cruises that are available in the next 90 days. And I tried to find some different cruises to different itineraries that are super cheap. And what I wanted to know was, how cheap could you go on a cruise if you took a balcony cruise to various areas of the globe? Louise, I roller skated to Van Halen music, and I loved it after watching The Love Boat while preparing. There you go. Beautiful. Oh, I miss roller skating. I used to roller skate all the time. Here's a deal for you. Holland America Zewerdam Departing September the 21st. This is a cruise to Alaska, and it's a 7-nighter. And how about these prices? Are you ready? These are American dollars. An inside room for $359, an ocean view for $374. This is seven nights. We're talking $50 a night here. Balcony $524, and a brochure suite for $839. Leaving from Vancouver, British Columbia, a full day of cruising. Tracy Arm in Alaska, Juneau, Skagway, Glacier Bay National Park and Preserve, cruising through the glaciers there. Ketchikan, and then sailing back on the sixth day and back to Vancouver on the seventh day. Now, there is a cruise on a first-class cruise line, Holland America, on the Zooer Dam. That would be a fabulous deal. Now, how about this cruise? Here's a 7-nighter. These are all 7-night cruises, almost all of them. 7-night cruise, September 17th. You got time to plan these. On the Symphony of the Seas, Royal Caribbean Symphony of the Seas. This ship is what, 5 years old? This is a trip out of Miami to Miami through the Caribbean. Inside room, $476 is the deal I can get out of Alberta. Brochure ocean view, $557. Balcony, $543. And a suite for $1,600. Forget the suite; it's too much money. You leave Miami, you get a sea day, then you end up in Costa Maya, Mexico, Roatan, Honduras, Cozumel, Mexico, a sea day, Coco Key in the Bahamas, and back to Miami. You can't beat that deal. I mean, that is a great itinerary on a fantastic new ship. Okay, how about this one? How about taking a cruise from Barcelona, Spain, 1 week, September the 3rd, on the Regal Princess? Nice ship. Inside room, $443. This is Europe now. We're talking US dollars here. Balcony, $647 for 7 nights. Suite, $1,124. Treat yourself. Treat yourself is what we say. Barcelona, sea day on day 2, Gibraltar on day 3. That's a fun stop. Gibraltar's great. Then a sea day on day 4. Then Marseille, France, Genoa, Italy, Florence in Italy, and you end up in Rome. Now, there is a cool, fantastic cruise right there. Ending in Rome. You can't beat that deal. All right, how about this one? San Diego down to Mexico and back. Are you ready? This one is Diamond Princess, 7 nights, October the 2nd. Lots of time to plan this one. Inside room, $293. Yeah, for a week. $293. Ocean view, $322. Balcony, $594. And a suite for $643. Forget the balcony. Go for the suite, man. This is fantastic. On the Diamond Princess, you will leave San Diego. You will go for 2 sea days to Loreto, Mexico, then to La Paz, Mexico, Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, a sea day, and back to San Diego for $293 inside room, or $643 for a suite. Eat like a pig. Oh my, you gotta love that cruise. Oh, that would be nice. All right, how about this one? This is a 14-night cruise leaving London, England. August the 28th, you got plenty of time to make this one. On the Island Princess. This is Princess Cruises, Island Princess. Okay, 14 nights, okay? Inside room for 14 nights, $685. That's like $342 a week, okay? We're talking cheap. Brochure ocean view, $689. Oh, that's $4 more. Come on, man. You got to take that deal. Balcony, $815. That's $407 a week in a balcony. American money. Hello. Brochure suite, $1175. It's not even $100 a day. American from London. Okay, here's your itinerary. You ready? London on Sunday, August the 28th departure. You got a day at sea. Then on the 30th of August, you're in Skagen, Denmark. Then you have a sea day. Then on Tuesday, September 1, you're in Klaipėda, Lithuania. You go then in Riga, Latvia, and take it from me, Riga is beautiful. My daughter's been there several times. Then you have a sea day, then Helsinki, Finland, then Tallinn, Estonia, Stockholm, Sweden, overnight stay in Stockholm. You got to love this. Visby, Sweden, Bornholm, Denmark, a sea day, and Copenhagen, Denmark is where you end up on this cruise. Oh, man, this is a bargain deal on the Island Princess cruise ship. Man, that is nice stuff. Okay, I've got, what have I got? Have I got any more? Oh, hang on. I got, is this one the same thing? Yeah, I've got this one. And then I got one more, I think. Two more. Oh, I got two more cruises. Okay, this one starts in Los Angeles. Okay, this is a 14-night cruise from October the 20th, leaving Los Angeles on the Radiance of the Seas. Holland America, nice ship. Okay, 14 nights, okay? Inside room, $612. It's $306 a week, okay? Let's get that figured out. A brochure, the Ocean View, $774 for 2 weeks. The balcony, $1,091, not even $100 a night. You go from LA, you get 2 sea days. Hang on, 2 sea days. You end up on October the 23rd in Puerto Vallarta because you start October 23rd, Puerto Vallarta. 2 more sea days, San Juan del Sur in Nicaragua. The next day, Punta Arenas in Costa Rica, a sea day. A Sunday, October the 29th, Panama Canal, full transit through the Panama Canal. Then on the 30th of October, Cartagena, Colombia. Then you have 3 sea days and you end up in New Orleans. This is LA to New Orleans, 14-night cruise from $612 to $1,091 through the Panama Canal. That is a bargain through the Panama Canal on a Royal Caribbean cruise. All right, got one more. This is our last one. This is a trip that departs on September the 2nd for 15 nights on the Enchanted Princess from London, England. All right, inside room for this 15-night cruise is $719. This is less than $360 a week. Brochure, for Ocean View, $1,046. A balcony is less, $971. 15 nights, $971. And a suite will run you just over $100 a night, $1,529. Okay. You leave London on September the 2nd. Get a sea day. You end up in Bergen, Norway on the 4th of September. Then you have a sea day on the 5th. On the 6th of September, you're in Belfast, Northern Ireland. On the 7th of September, you're in Cork, Ireland. You can get to say hi to Donnell. You get to say hi to Donnell in Cork, Ireland. Buy the man a beer. Then on Thursday and Friday, you have 2 sea days, and you're heading straight south to Ponta Delgada, Portugal. That is the Azores. You're heading for warm weather. That's September the 10th. Then you're crossing the Atlantic for 4 days to Boston, Massachusetts, then a sea day, and then New York, Brooklyn on the 17th of September. So it's London to New York, 15 nights on the Enchanted Princess cruise ship from $719 up to $971 from an inside to a balcony, or take a suite for $1,529. How about those apples? Those are some nice cruises. All in the next 90 days. There are deals out there. There are bargains out there to take advantage of if you want to go for a cruise. Nice stuff. Just got to get rid of this troll. It's been a long time since I've had a troll. They don't find me anymore. Isn't that something, these trolls? How sad is that? Anyway, thank you everybody for this. And let's go. Chuck Spencer. Hey, Bruce, how many new ships have started after COVID is lifted? I'm thinking Wonder of the Seas, the Mardi Gras, the Wish. Yeah, that's right. The Wish. I'm trying to remember if anyone, isn't there a new ship from MSC that got launched? And didn't Costa launch a big one as well? Virgin launched a new ship. They just got a ship launched. Now there are ships under construction right now. I know Norwegian's got one of the Prima classes coming up. Rocky, first cruise I took was Eastern Caribbean on the old Regal Princess in 1994 for our 25th anniversary. We loved the cruise, found nothing particularly memorable, but we didn't know any better either. So there you go. Sharon, Coco Key is really beautiful. We splurged on the Coco Beach Club, which was not crowded, had a great lunch, but I bought it during a Christmas special. The price has doubled since then. Right on, Sharon. What a nice job. We got 60 thumbs up, she says. Only 40 left to go. Guys, thank you so much for helping me out with these thumbs ups. I got 64 showing right now. 64 thumbs ups are showing right now on this channel. And I thank you all so much for helping out. If you can throw a thumbs ups our way, tell me what number you are. This is great. We're almost 2/3 of the way to 100. RMS 492, Carnival Holiday, Ensenada, 1998 was our first cruise. I thought at the time the holiday was huge. Not anymore these days. That is not a big holiday anymore. Isn't it amazing how things have changed? John Weir, Bruce, I just joined in 5 months since I've been live with you. It's good to see all of you from that OQ place in Illinois. John, thanks for being here, John. It's great to have you. We are live Monday nights and 8 o'clock for the big show, 7 o'clock for sponsor members. If you become a sponsor member, you join us at 7 o'clock every Monday night. And we hang out with the Hangout Show. 8 p.m. Holland America, Rotterdam was my first ever cruise. Fantastic. My first ever experience on an ocean liner was with a ship from Home Cruise Lines. I think it was Home Line Cruise, or something like that. And it was an ocean liner. I was on 2 different ocean liners, 1959 from Canada to Europe, and 1962 from Europe back to Canada. The second leg, we were on the Homeric, the RMS Homeric, HOMERIC, from Home Lines. And there are photos in my mother's photo album of this trip, where my sister and I and my mom and dad are in the main dining room. And we have the same waiter and busboy every night. Spoiled rotten, I'll tell you. That was a 6-night crossing, I guess, or 5 nights, 6-night crossing across the Atlantic. And we were in one room. I think we had double bunk beds for my sister and I, and then bunk beds for my mom and dad, I think. And my father was in the military, the Canadian Armed Forces, and his deployment was up in Europe, a 3-year NATO deployment, peacekeeper. And the entire group, my dad was in the orchestra, was in the big band. The entire band came back. And of course, when we were shipped over, it was husbands, wives, and children. The whole family was going over. And now the whole family was coming back. So that we had I'm not sure how many on the ship that we were. I'm not sure if we were a couple of hundred of the people on the ship exactly, but everybody was having a good time. And I'll tell you, the parents every evening got dressed up to the nines. Because this is an opportunity for my mother to get dressed up every evening. And my father had on a suit and tie every night, because what happened was we would have a 5 or 6 o'clock dinner seating in the main dining room, and my parents would take my sister and I out to the main dining area. I'd be all dressed up. I'd be dressed as best as possible. So my sister always had a different dress on every night. We would go to the restaurant and we would have this wonderful dinner, and we would eat all we could eat with dessert on top of that. My parents got us stuffed, and we had this great food every night. And the trick was that after dinner, my sister and I would be so tired that it would be time to go to bed. So we would be taken back to the cabin by my mother and father, and we would tuck ourselves into our bunks. And during the day, we would be running all over the ship and all kinds of activities to take care of, all kinds of games that we could play. And we would burn off the energy and eat and burn off energy and then eat and dinner. And then we'd be exhausted. And it was all the master plan by my mother and father. So now we'd be in our beds and we'd be asleep in no time. And then my mother would leave us in the cabin, and she'd join Dad, and they would head to the dance floor. They would head to the where the orchestra was playing, and of course, my father being a musician, and all the guys in the band being musicians, they would all hang out where the band was. And in between sets, these guys would talk, and smoke and drink and talk. Well, when they were playing, the guys would be dancing with their wives, and so my mom and dad would have this night out. 6 nights in a row, they'd be out dancing and drinking and smoking on this luxury cruise liner that was all paid for by the Canadian military to head back to Canada. Talk about a great break that was. And I and my sister had a wonderful time on the ship. But in the evenings, my mom and dad really had a good time. They let their hair down and had a really good time. And that, I remember the dinner every night. I remember the smell of the fresh buns that would be brought to the table in one of those silver bowls with the towel over top of the buns to keep them warm. And the waiter would bring the buns to each of us, and he would bring the bun between my father and myself. And would you like to have a bun? And I could smell the bun. And my dad would grab one for me and one for him. And then he would go over, or he'd go to my mother first, take care of her and my sister, then my dad and I. And then my dad would help me open the bun up. And the butter was on one of these silver trays with ice cubes in it. And the butter was had been shaved by like a cheese slicer. And the butter would curl up. Do you remember how the butter would curl as it was being shaved off of the block? And there would be these shaved, round, circular, spiral pieces of butter on top of this bed of ice. And on the bottom of the dish would be like a piece of a chrome-plated piece of metal with holes in it. And the water would drip down from the ice as it was melting, and it would collect in the bottom of the dish. But on top of the ice would be where the butter was. And the whole trick was the butter had to last about 35-40 minutes. That's all it had to be good for, because the butter was just for the buns, the pre-dinner buns. And so the butter would be up there staying cool, but not being frozen or hard. It would be soft, but still cool. And my dad would take the butter knife, and he would put it on my bun. He'd have one piece of butter on one side of the bun, one piece of butter on the other side of the bun, and he would do that with his. And then we'd each be eating our warm butter roll, dinner roll that was melting the cheese and melting the butter in it that had just been put on. I always go to whenever I go to a nice restaurant and they bring the basket of buns and you can smell the heated buns. Oh, that reminds me of that at Ocean Crossing, 1962. I'm like 6-7 years old. That's just seared in there. It's funny how that works, So nice. John, Oquaka. That's where he's from. Anyone can say it. Sharon, next time I'll send you a Facebook message if I don't get the sponsor show notification. You bet. Julie Dahl, Bruce, I enjoyed your European vlogs. Do you prefer to spend your holiday money on land or sea travels? We love them all. We just love them all. Can't get enough of them all. I love them all. Sharon Homelines, that was the same line as the Oceanic. The Oceanic. Yeah, unfortunately, the old Homeric, the ship known as the Homeric, it applied the oceans for another couple of years until about 64, 65. And then after that, the ship was now used for holidays to the Caribbean from like New York or Boston or Philly or Baltimore and sometimes out of Florida. And I believe the ship was equipped with air conditioning. But there was unfortunately, there was an incident. I think the ship was anchored in Kingston, Jamaica. I could be wrong, but I think it was Kingston, Jamaica. And a fire broke out on the ship. Now, I don't know if there was any work being done on it or it was a kitchen issue or an engine room issue, but a fire broke out and the ship was basically destroyed. It was so badly damaged that they looked at the possibility to try to save her and refurbish her. But the insurance company looked at the ship and said, guys, we'll cut you a check to walk away because it's not doable anymore. It's not salvageable. And so she was salvaged. She was cut up into pieces. And that was the end of the Homeric, unfortunately. But yeah, we have photos of the ship and of our a couple of photos from the cruise line where they showed us it showed us eating dinner in the dining room. But that was a long time ago, and unfortunately, it's just no more. So there you have it. Anyway, that's all she wrote. Eventually they meet their demise, and this one did meet its demise, and that's just the way it is, and that's all you can do. Nothing else you can do. In any event, sorry, folks, for this troll that is coming in here and just coming around to screw around here. But the best channels attract trolls. What can I say? We're number one for a reason, I guess. I don't know. Or are we? I don't know about that. Anyway, try to get rid of that guy. John, the farm south of town is called the Oleo Acres, the cheap spread. Your butter story made me think. Good night. You got it. Oh, those were the days. The service was unbelievable. The crew was Italian. The cruise line was an Italian cruise line, and the entire crew was Italian. And these guys put on the first class service. It was first class. And my parents talked about that crossing for years. To any of the relatives that came by, they talked about that ship crossing for years and years and years. And I only wish that back in the day, we would have had a tape recorder running when mom and dad would tell stories of the old days crossing the Atlantic on these two ships from 1959 going over and 59 and 62 coming back. But didn't exist. There was no such thing as an affordable tape recorder in your house to tape people talking. When they didn't do that. Kimberly, sorry getting here late. Welcome, Jeannie. Fun night. Catch you next week. Bye for now, folks. I agree with Jeannie. It's time to pack it in. I got to pack it in. This is my 5th live show of the day. I do 3 on my stock market channel, and I do 2 here every Monday night. It's the big one, and I too have to get some sleep because I got to get up in about 10 hours and get to work on my stock market channel for tomorrow. So I'm going to bid you a fond good evening and say thank you, all of you, for being here tonight, either live or on the rerun. 70 of you have been able to throw a thumbs up our way, and I thank you so much for this. Kimberly, I was wondering if you changed your vibe. Don't really need any adult dating, haha. No, I don't think so. I don't think I need any adult dating. A little beyond that now. Have a wonderful night, Duncan. You take care. Patrick, turned in late. Thanks, Bruce. You take care, Patrick. Thanks for being here tonight. Sandy, my most memorable cruise was on the NCL, the Norway. Good night. Oh, that would have been something. That huge ship. Kirk, thanks, buddy. Great shows, Bruce. You have a good night. You take care, Kirk. Enjoy that cruise. I'm expecting a full report. Fantastic. But Cloud 7 Travel, hi there, Bruce. How you guys doing? Thanks for being here tonight. Thank you, all of you, for throwing thumbs ups at us. 71 have come in. I love it. Appreciate it. Have a good night. Have a good evening, everybody. Kelly, good night. Jean, Jen, and Bruce. Thank you, Kelly. Kimberly, we will have to catch the replay. Good night and rest up. Thanks, Kimberly. You take care, everybody. Have a wonderful evening, all of you out there. And we'll see you next Monday night at 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock on this channel for the sponsor members and everybody else on the big show. You guys take care. We'll see you next time. Bye from Calgary. See you next time. Take care, everybody.